I looked in my rearview mirror and realized I was being followed by a clown on a unicycle.
So why did that sentence just grab your attention? And why is it so much more interesting than, say, this next one?
I was driving to work this morning and boom, your brain just checked out, right? The first story started with action, with mystery. The second one, well, it started with nothing. And that difference is everything.
That difference right there is exactly what we're going to break down in this explainer. We're talking about a really powerful storytelling trick called the drop-in method, and it's all about how you start your story.
Okay, so first, let's talk about the problem.
It's something called the wandering intro, and honestly, it's why most stories, whether it's a big presentation or just a simple anecdote, totally fall flat before they even get going.
The big issue here is that we have this habit of starting our stories with what the source material calls boring data. We give all this extra context that nobody really needs. The time of day, where we were, what we were wearing, and we think we're setting the scene, but what we're actually doing is giving our listener's mind permission to just wander off.
This slide just nails it, right? On the left, you've got that wandering intro, all that tedious setup. And on the right, that's the good part. That's where the story actually begins. But we spend so much time on the left side that by the time we finally get to the good stuff on the right, we've already lost our audience.
So what's the fix? Well, it's actually super elegant and simple. The drop-in method. It's all about skipping the fluff and just getting right to the point.
So what is the drop-in method exactly? It's simple. You start your story right at the peak of the action, or when an emotion is at its highest. You literally drop your listener right into the middle of everything. You can always go back and fill in the details later, but only if they're actually important.
Oh, and I absolutely love this analogy. Think with what the source calls 5-year-old logic, right? When you're watching a cartoon, you don't care about the hero's morning routine? No way! You want to see them jumping off a cliff, swinging into action. Your stories should do the exact same thing.
Let's put this into practice with a work example. The boring way to start is, we had our quarterly review today. Okay, but the drop-in way? The room went dead silent when the CEO looked directly at my slide. Whoa, see the difference? Now we're hooked. We have questions. We need to know what happens next.
And this isn't just for work stuff. It works for personal stories, too. Last summer, we went to Italy. It's just a fact. It's not a story. But what about this? I have never tasted anything as life-changing as that first bite of pizza in Naples. Now that starts with an emotion. It pulls you in immediately.
All right, so you get the idea. But how do you actually do it? Let's break down 3 really simple ways you can start practicing this like today. Think of these like difficulty levels in a video game. Easy mode is for your next text message. Seriously, just type out your story, then go back and delete the first 2 sentences. I'll bet you anything the 3rd sentence is where the real story actually starts. Medium mode is to lead with how you felt. And for a real challenge, try starting with a line of dialogue someone said to you.
And here's challenge mode in action. Starting with a quote like, "My boss looked at me and said, 'Is this a joke?' is so much more powerful than saying, 'So I was emailing my boss today,' and it drops us right into that moment of panic and surprise." So the big takeaway here, the main thing to remember is this. Your story is a movie trailer, not an instruction manual. Think about it. A trailer doesn't waste time with the boring setup and opening credits. Nope, it shows you the explosions, the drama, the best one-liners. It hooks you with the good stuff first.
And why is this so important? Well, because in this crazy world of a million distractions, grabbing someone's attention right away is basically a superpower. It makes what you say stick in their mind, it shows that you respect their time, and it can turn a boring old update into a story that people actually lean in to hear.
So that leaves us with one final question for you. Think about the next story you need to tell. Could be an update for your team or just something that happened over the weekend. How are you going to use this drop-in method? What boring story are you going to make interesting today?